Today's video is really going to examine what did Jesus really say. Because it's obvious that Jesus wouldn't have said most of these things, and a lot of these events couldn't have happened. But this is why I make these videos to show you all so that you won't fall for the deception. So let's deal with the passage. Matthew 24 verse 3. The disciples came to Jesus privately and asked him, "Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world?" If you're reading from an NIV, the word thy becomes yours. So the disciples were asking Jesus, when is the sign of your coming? This is a problem. What this reveals is that the authors of Matthew were implicating that the disciples knew about a second coming. Why would you ask Jesus, what is the sign of your coming, if he's already here, sitting in front of you? This is showing that this is a deliberate insertion. To prove this, let's go to the book of Mark, the first written gospel of the Gospels, and let's examine that same incident. Mark 13 verses 3 and 4 says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, 'Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled?' And Jesus answering them began to say, 'Take heed, lest any man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.'" Pay attention. And in this book is nothing about the sign of your coming. The church tried to clean this up again by placing the book of Matthew first in the gospel. So when you read this again in Mark as the second book in the Bible, you've already been indoctrinated with the idea of the second coming. So you will miss the deliberate insertions and inconsistencies. In Mark 13:6, what Jesus says, "Many shall come in my name, saying they are Christ." Jesus would not say that if he was speaking. He'd say, "Many shall come in my name, saying they are anointed, and deceive many." Christ is a Greek translation of the word anointed. Christians hear it so much stamped onto Jesus' name that they believe it's his last name. But the overall point here of what I'm showing you is that if you continue reading these same chapters in Matthew and Mark, Jesus makes a statement, "And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then he shall send his angels and shall gather together his elect from the four winds." Jesus is now speaking in the third person about another individual, mainly because these exact words come directly from the book of Daniel, chapter 7, when Daniel is having a dream and the angel shows him one like the Son of a Man being brought before the Ancient of Days, which was a symbolic image that he saw in a dream. When interpreted, meant that the holy people of Israel would be given authority by God to rule over the nation. The Christian authors, or whoever made up Christianity, decided that to take the one like the Son of a Man, which only meant a human being, and transform it into some kind of prophetic title for the Messiah, which it never was intended to be. But this verse is ripped out of context to mean that the disciples would see Jesus coming in the cloud. And this is why Matthew writes it, a sign of thy coming. If you understand the context of Daniel 7, you'd understand that Jesus using Son of Man was flagrant to begin with. Then to say he shall send forth his angels instead of saying mine is a clear indication that he's giving second coming status to someone else. But I try to take you all on these journeys to show you how the Christian doctrine was forged, and it's not actual history. It's a traditional fable, but most of you get angry instead of fact check what I'm showing you. But I understand. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Cello the Great.